Once upon a time, all animals in the world were wild, just like people were wild. There were no tame horses or cows or dogs. There was nothing but wild horses, wild cows, and wild dogs. And people were also wild. That's why our grandfathers and grandmothers didn't live in houses. Instead, they lived in caves. And this is how the first house and the first friend came about. A long time ago, in the days when everyone lived in caves, there was a very clever woman. One day she found a wild man living in a cave. "You shouldn't be living in such a drafty cave," she said to him. "Come live in my cave with me. My cave is cozy and wide and spacious. We can curl up inside and keep nice and warm." The man thought for a moment. "Well, what's in it for me?" he asked. "I'll give you half of everything I have," she replied, and she really had a lot of stuff. The man agreed, and they began sharing the cave. It wasn't long before the woman noticed that having a man around wasn't so bad. But one day the woman heard some strange sounds coming from outside the cave. She looked out and saw a big dog sniffing around near their cave. "Oh, look!" she called to the man. "There's a large dog over there. Go ask him if he wants to live with us. If he does, we can share our food and stay warm together." The man went out and talked to the dog. "Would you like to come live with us? You can have half of everything I have," he told the dog. The dog thought for a moment. "Well, what's in it for me?" he asked. "I'll give you half of everything I have," the man promised, and the dog did indeed have a lot of stuff. The dog agreed, and they shared their cave. It wasn't long before the woman noticed that having a dog around wasn't so bad. Soon enough, the woman heard some strange sounds coming from outside the cave again. She looked out and saw a big horse sniffing around near their cave. "Oh, look!" she called to the man. "There's a fine horse out there. Go ask him if he wants to live with us. If he does, he can have half of everything I have." The man went out and talked to the horse. "Would you like to come live with us? You can have half of everything I have," he told the horse. The horse thought for a moment. "Well, what's in it for me?" he asked. "I'll give you half of everything I have," the man promised, and the horse did indeed have a lot of stuff. The horse agreed, and they shared their cave. It wasn't long before the woman noticed that having a horse around wasn't so bad. Soon enough, the woman heard some strange sounds coming from outside the cave again. She looked out and saw a big cow sniffing around near their cave. "Oh, look!" she called to the man. "There's a good cow out there. Go ask her if she wants to live with us. If she does, she can have half of everything I have." The man went out and talked to the cow. "Would you like to come live with us? You can have half of everything I have," he told the cow. The cow thought for a moment. "Well, what's in it for me?" she asked. "I'll give you half of everything I have," the man promised. And the cow did indeed have a lot of stuff. The cow agreed, and they shared their cave. Now the woman was happy. She had tamed the first friend, the dog, the first servant, the horse, and the giver of good food, the cow. She could make all these animals her friends because she knew how to talk to them and understand them. She had tamed the wild animals, and so now she was the mistress of the cave. The man, however, had nothing to do with any of this. He would come back from hunting and find the horse already saddled and ready for riding, the cow giving sweet milk, and the dog waiting for him. So he too benefited from all this, even though he had nothing to do with it. But one day a cat walked by the cave. The cat was sleek and handsome, and he walked by himself and considered all places alike. He watched the horse, the cow, and the dog enter the cave, and they all looked happy and satisfied. He also saw the baby suckling happily on his mother's breast. And the cat thought to himself, maybe that cave isn't so bad after all. Maybe I should go and talk to that woman." Then he stopped and thought some more. "No, I don't need anyone's permission to go in and out of my cave. Why should I beg and bargain with that woman? I am a king in my own right, and I don't need anyone's help. I'll just walk by myself." And the cat did just that. He turned around and continued on his way. Then the woman came to the entrance of the cave and saw the cat walking away. "Hey, you!" she called to him. "Come here. Would you like to live in my cave? You can have half of everything I have." The cat paused for a moment, then turned back. "Well, what's in it for me?" he asked. The woman knew that dealing with a cat wasn't easy, so she made him an offer he couldn't refuse. "If I praise you once, you can enter the cave. If I praise you twice, you can sit by the fire. And if I praise you 3 times, you can drink warm milk forever." The cat knew that this was a very good deal, so he agreed to it. At that moment, the man came out of the cave and heard the whole deal between the woman and the cat. He, too, wanted a cat to catch mice, so he added his own terms to the bargain. "If the cat doesn't catch mice, men will throw things at him," he said. The dog also wanted something from the cat. When he heard the bargain, he said, "If the cat isn't kind to the baby, dogs will chase him up a tree." The cat agreed to these terms, but he still remained the cat, wild and free. Then the woman returned to the cave entrance and waited for the cat to earn his reward. First, she heard the baby crying, and the cat came over to see what was wrong. The baby stopped crying when he saw the cat and began to giggle and clap his hands. The cat began to play with the baby, batting at his hands with his paws. The woman watched this and couldn't help but smile. "Well done," she said. "That was smart." This was the first time she praised him, so the curtain in front of the cave parted on its own, and the cat went in. Then the woman heard the baby crying again. The cat went over to see what was wrong, and the woman followed him. The cat began to sing the baby a song with his purr, and the baby soon fell asleep. The woman couldn't help but smile again. "Well done," she said. "That was smart." This was the second time she praised him, so the fire in the cave sent sparks flying, and the cat went in. After this, the cat would often come to the cave and play with the baby, until one day the woman heard a strange sound. She looked out of the cave and saw a mouse running across the ground. The cat jumped out and chased after it, but the mouse was quick and nimble, and it managed to escape. The woman smiled. "Well done," she said. "That was smart." This was the third time she praised him, so the pot of milk on the hearth boiled over, and the cat lapped up the warm milk until his belly was full. From that day on, the cat drank warm milk every day. He never had to worry about being hungry or cold again. Now, even though the cat had made a deal with the woman, he still remained the cat. Whenever he wanted, he would go outside and hunt, and sometimes he would leave the cave without even saying goodbye. The man and the dog weren't happy about this. They both wanted the cat to stay in the cave and listen to them. But the cat always refused and said, "No, I don't need anyone's permission to go in and out of my cave. Why should I beg and bargain with you? I am a king in my own right, and I don't need anyone's help." The man and the dog argued with the cat, but he wouldn't listen. He would just turn around and walk away. And to this day, it's the same. Cats kill mice and don't mind babies crying. But whenever they want, they return to the wild, waving his wild tail and walking by his wild lone. That's all for today. See you next time.